The restaurant fell silent the moment they walked in, a nervous father in a slightly wrinkled shirt, holding the hand of a 6-year-old girl with pigtails and a worn stuffed rabbit tucked under her arm. Marcus Chen had rehearsed what he'd say a dozen times, but now, facing the elegantly dressed woman already seated at the corner table, all his prepared words evaporated like morning mist. This wasn't how blind dates were supposed to go. He knew that. Everyone knew that. But life had stopped following any script the day his wife Sarah died 18 months ago, leaving him alone with their daughter Emma and a mountain of grief neither of them knew how to climb. "I'm so sorry," Marcus stammered as they approached the table, where Victoria Sterling sat with the composed grace of someone accustomed to boardrooms and power lunches. Her profile picture hadn't done her justice: sharp cheekbones, intelligent eyes, and an air of quiet authority that made Marcus feel even more foolish for bringing his daughter to what was supposed to be an adult evening. "My babysitter canceled at the last minute. I tried to reschedule, but I couldn't reach you, and I just thought. You thought you'd show up anyway," Victoria finished, her expression unreadable. For a terrible moment, Marcus was certain she'd stand up and leave. He wouldn't blame her. What successful CEO wanted their Friday evening disrupted by a 6-year-old? But Victoria didn't stand. Instead, she looked directly at Emma, who was peeking shyly from behind her father's leg, and smiled. Not the polite, strained smile of someone tolerating an inconvenience, but something genuine that reached her eyes. "And who's this?" Victoria asked, her tone softening. "Emma," the little girl whispered, clutching her rabbit tighter. "Emma, that's a beautiful name. I'm Victoria. Is that your friend?" She nodded toward the stuffed animal. "This is Mr. Hoppy. He goes everywhere with me because my mommy gave him to me." The words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of loss that children carry so plainly. Marcus felt his chest tighten, preparing to deflect the awkwardness that usually followed such declarations. People never knew what to say when Emma mentioned Sarah. But Victoria simply nodded, as if Emma had told her the most natural thing in the world. "Then Mr. Hoppy is very special. Would you and Mr. Hoppy like to sit down? I was just about to order, and I heard they have the best chocolate cake in the city here." Emma's eyes widened. She looked up at her father, who was still frozen in a mixture of embarrassment and surprise. He'd expected judgment, maybe even anger. Instead, he found himself being gently ushered to sit down by his 6-year-old, who'd apparently decided that anyone who knew about the chocolate cake was worth getting to know. The evening that followed was nothing like Marcus had imagined. Victoria didn't ignore Emma or speak over her as if she weren't there. She asked about her favorite subjects in school, about Mr. Hoppy's adventures, about what Emma wanted to be when she grew up. And when Emma announced she wanted to be a scientist who helps sick people get better, Victoria listened with the same attentiveness she probably gave to million-dollar business proposals. "My mommy was sick," Emma explained, drawing patterns on the tablecloth with her finger. "The doctors tried really hard, but sometimes trying hard isn't enough. Daddy says she's watching us from heaven now, but I think if I become a scientist, maybe I can help other kids' mommies not get sick." Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. Emma rarely spoke this openly about Sarah, about her dreams born from heartbreak. He reached over to squeeze her hand, but when he looked up, he saw that Victoria's eyes were glistening too. "I think that's the most beautiful reason I've ever heard," Victoria said quietly. "And I think you're going to make an incredible scientist." As the evening wore on, Marcus found himself relaxing despite the unconventional circumstances. Victoria shared stories about her own childhood, about the father who'd raised her alone after her mother left when she was 7. She spoke about the struggle, the stigma, the way people looked at single fathers as if they were fundamentally incomplete. "My dad used to bring me to his business meetings," Victoria said with a soft laugh. "He ran a small construction company, and sometimes he had no choice. I'd sit in the corner with my coloring books while he talked about contracts and deadlines. People judged him for it, said he wasn't professional, but he was doing his best, and his best was more than enough." Marcus felt something crack open in his chest, the armor he'd been wearing since Sarah's death, the constant fear that he wasn't enough, that Emma deserved better than a father who sometimes burned dinner and forgot to sign permission slips and showed up to blind dates with his daughter in tow. "Where is your daddy now?" Emma asked, chocolate cake crumbs dotting her lips. Victoria's smile turned bittersweet. "He passed away 5 years ago. But everything I am, everything I've accomplished, it's because he showed me that love doesn't follow rules. It just shows up, every single day, even when it's hard. The words settled over their table like a benediction. Marcus realized he was looking at Victoria differently now, not as the intimidating CEO his friend had set him up with, but as someone who understood. Someone who'd walked a similar path and emerged with compassion instead of bitterness. When Emma started yawning, her head drooping toward her father's shoulder, Victoria insisted on paying the bill. "This was the best blind date I've ever been on," she said, and Marcus could tell she meant it. "Really? Even though I brought my daughter and completely violated every rule of dating etiquette?" Victoria knelt down to Emma's level, gently tucking a loose strand of hair behind the sleepy girl's ear. "Especially because of that. You know what I see when I look at you too. I see a dad who loves his daughter enough to bring her along rather than cancel on a commitment. I see a little girl brave enough to share her story with strangers. That's not a violation of etiquette. That's just real life, and real life is so much better than perfect." As they walked to the parking lot, Emma drowsy in Marcus's arms, Victoria stopped him with a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Can I see you again? Both of you, I mean. Maybe next time somewhere more fun, like that new science museum. I think Emma might enjoy it." Marcus felt hope flutter in his chest, fragile and tentative like a bird learning to fly again. "You don't have to do that. I know this isn't what you signed up for." "Maybe not," Victoria agreed. "But sometimes the best things in life are the ones we didn't plan for. My father taught me that." 3 months later, on a Sunday afternoon at that same science museum, Marcus watched as Victoria helped Emma look through a giant telescope, both of them pointing excitedly at planets and stars. Emma was laughing, really laughing, in a way she hadn't since Sarah died. And Victoria was looking at his daughter with such genuine affection that Marcus felt his carefully guarded heart finally, fully open. That evening, as he tucked Emma into bed, she whispered, "Daddy, I really like Victoria. Do you think Mommy would like her too?" Marcus kissed his daughter's forehead, tears streaming freely now. "Baby, I think Mommy would love her. And I think she'd be so proud of you for being brave enough to let someone new into our lives. Are you going to marry her?" Emma asked with the blunt curiosity of children. Marcus laughed through his tears. "I don't know yet. But I do know that she sees us, really sees us, and she chose to stay. That's pretty special." As Emma drifted off to sleep, Mr. Hoppy clutched in her arms, Marcus realized that healing didn't mean forgetting. It meant making room for new love alongside old memories, for joy that honored rather than erased the past. Victoria hadn't run when faced with his complicated reality. She'd pulled up a chair, ordered chocolate cake, and proved that sometimes the most extraordinary transformations begin with the simple act of showing up, mess, baggage, stuffed rabbits and all.